Alrighty, ladies, welcome back to another episode of the Queen Talk podcast. As always, I'm more than excited to come on here and chat with you, ladies, and being a space where we're able to elevate our vibrational frequencies and just have higher conversations to take us as women to the next level. And today's talk is going to be extra special, right? Because it's not just me. We have a beautiful guest on our podcast episode today, Miss Nimi, and she is an empowerment coach. She has created a beautiful space called Resilient, where she is in a space where she is elevating other people's lives as well through a mental transformation of becoming more of a woman. So before I keep going, I'm going to allow Ms. Nimi to step in and let you ladies know all about her before we dive right into our topic.
Hi, lovely. Thank you so much for having me on here, Bree. I so appreciate you. And I am excited to have this chat with you on here. And yes, I'm an empowerment coach, and I believe truly in the fact that we have this untouched potential inside of us. And I know this because figured mine out. And I'm still unlayering one, sort of I guess magical, component at a time.
Right.
So I believe that we've all got it, and there are others that actually don't even recognize or are aware of it. So I'd like to spread that out into the world where we all recognize ourselves as empresses.
Yes. So tell me, and the ladies, of course, and the ladies, right? Tell us
Yes.
more about that Empress energy, right? Because kind of like we talked about in the pre-recording a couple days ago, the social influence, they're not really using the word empress, right? Like they're not really putting us as women on a pedestal of seeing ourselves higher. So explain more of the empress energy. What does that look like, as in like the definition that you would come up with and even the embodiment of that?
Yes. And for me, the Empress energy came as it's part of tarot. So the Empress is the one that is, there are four queens, and the Empress is basically the fifth one who embodies all four queens inside of her. And so when you are the Empress, you have all of the qualities of all four queens, which
Mm.
are completely different from one another,
Okay.
completely different, which means that there are four people inside of us,
Uh,
four different components inside of us.
yes.
And there are times where one of those components or people, let me just say, is not really in balance,
Right.
and that's due to a lot of conditioning that we have in our lives, the people we've come across throughout maybe our childhood and our adulthood, and the experiences that we've had in our lives. And all of those things, what they do is they muddle everything in our head when it comes to this energy.
Hmm.
So what happens with the Empress is that she's made up of four queens. So the Queen of Cups is the Queen of Love. And she is the one that you would probably experience when, say, that you're giving love to your child or to your spouse, or to your mom and dad, or to your friends. She's the compassionate one. She's the one that provides that unconditional kindness, the
Right.
unconditional way of being compassionate with people. And that's the feminine energy of love
Mm.
that we call on. And what happens when that's in imbalance is the fact that we don't love ourselves first, we don't fill our own cup. She's the Queen of Cups. So what she's doing is that she's giving her cup to you, but that cup has to be full on its own for herself first, for her to give you
Right.
some. So, and you and I talked about this, one of my friends on one of the other podcasts introduced this to me, and I love it, that I fill my cup, and when it overflows onto the saucer, I serve what is on the saucer to you.
Serve what
But
is
my cup is always full,
right.
and if it's not, then I'm incapable of giving you anything
Right.
unless mine is full. So, but there are times in our lives where we don't even know how to fill our cup. We
Right.
don't even know about our cup.
What
All we
cup?
know, Exactly, because all we know is to chase,
Right.
things, chase love. It's all inside of you. Love yourself first. And then if there's anyone you'd like to give love to, you're giving love. You don't chase love.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Even when you say chase, right, it makes me think about the comparison between like men and women, right? And
Yes.
as a woman, it's it's not our job to chase, right? Like the man is that's his energy, even if we look at it from an animal point of view,
Yes.
right? Like the men chase and a woman, she's a nurturer, right? And so when we look at that
Yes.
nurturing energy, again, it's so easy in a space and time for people to constantly pour out, pour out, pour out, pour out, pour out. I saw actually on Instagram this morning a
Yeah.
girl, she made a video and she said it really just dawned on her, thinking back, that she grew up in a household watching women take care of men. And she said she
Mm,
never really had put the pieces together, that she was exactly like you were saying, in a space like watching a recording, right? Like
yeah.
watching this environment of women chasing, women
Right.
constantly pouring from cups that aren't full. So it inevitably changed her as she
Yeah.
grew up to be a woman where she was constantly just pouring out, and taking care of men. And she kind of had to wake up and come to a reality of, hold up,
Yeah. This
if
is not
I,
what I do.
this is not healthy.
And think of it this way, right? It's so funny. I was listening to a video today right before our podcast started, and there's a guy who was saying that the thing is that men are actually not attracted to women that chase them.
Of course not.
So it's like they take us for granted 100%. Any man out there will take you for granted if you are just giving. And I know people say that there's something called unconditional love. I don't believe it.
Because
I don't
really,
believe in unconditional love. I believe in you loving people unconditionally in a way where,
you
just
can have
just in a
compassion.
way. That's right. Exactly. I do believe in that unconditional compassion. And for example, if you are not even with somebody anymore or talking to them anymore or whatever, you can have love in your heart for them. That's unconditional. There's no
Right,
condition there.
right.
But the unconditional love does not exist. There's always some expectation of some return. Even with a child, I know parents say that I love my child unconditionally, but there's always some expectation of maybe kindness or decency, whatever it is. There's always something that you'd like back.
Right,
You know, as human beings, it's not easy for us to unconditionally love,
right.
because then you become taken advantage of, a doormat, treated not very well, not valued very
Yeah.
highly.
You know, I think to the price of unconditional love, I think the price is standards and boundaries. Personal
That's
boundaries
right.
more so than standards, right? Like I think that's
Yes.
the price of unconditional love, because when you give yourself love, that looks like setting boundaries of, I love myself enough to know I'm not even about to put these type of people in my environment to place me in a position that if I was giving a love that felt like it didn't have to have any conditions, I know that they're not going to hurt me, right? Those
Yes.
boundaries stand of that self-love boundary stands in the space of recognizing, though I can't control your actions, right? I can control my actions enough to have that discernment to recognize, am I seeing red flags that she's probably gonna burn me, right? Like, am I
Exactly.
seeing those situations? And I think that, again, back to the Queen of Cups type energy, like you were saying, it's that space of recognizing, all right, so there's a side of me, right, that wants to give love, because most people want that, unless you kind of like you got a mental disability or something. Most people are in a space of love is what we all are searching for in our own way, shape, or form. So the Queen of
Yeah.
Cups really recognizes that love is going to look so different for so many people, but what does love look like for me? So then that way, with clarity of that, naturally I can attract other experiences to me that operate on high vibrational frequencies, and recognizing that, again, when I did attract lower vibrational frequencies, they were just a mirror of me. I was low vibrational at that time. I didn't love myself, right? We didn't love ourselves to the level that we should have. So, of course, those things were able to come in and penetrate our energy field because we weren't, like you said, filling our cup first and serving others from the saucer. So then let me ask you this. All right,
Yes.
so I'm Queen of Sword. I'm Queen of Cups, right? And
Yes.
I'm good. I got my self love together. I've
You
set
love
my
yourself. Yes.
boundaries, right? I'm good. I'm good. Where do I
Yes.
go next to rise?
So here's what happens with the Queen of Cups, as you had very rightly, that was the perfect actually synergy of the Queen of Cups is basically very well, she works very well with the Queen of Swords. The Queen of Swords is the one that sets the boundaries and says, you step over this line, I will let you know in very clear terms, communication. Very clear, absolute communication. There is no two ways about what I'm saying. I'm not giving you any mixed messages here. This is my truth. Now, if you continue to cross that line, because see, the Queen of Cups has the compassion and kindness and understanding to be like, okay, I mean, I get it. You get a warning. I get it. I see a red flag, but it's not as big. You know, maybe we can eliminate it. Maybe it's
Right.
maybe it's my misunderstanding. You can misunderstand as
Right.
well. So you communicate very clearly as you can. Do not be afraid of communication. That's the Queen of Swords. She is not afraid to tell her truth.
Right.
So that's when she steps in and says to the Queen of Cups, you sit this one out.
Sit this one out, sis.
Because you've got this loving cup that you want to offer. We get that. Okay, hold on to that for a while. I feel like we could make like, different, just avatars out of
We really can.
But the Queen of Swords steps in and says, she's your protector. She's protecting you. So she sets her boundaries, as you had just beautifully put, is that these are my boundaries. And if you are crossing them again and again, I don't appreciate that.
That's right.
And then if it gets crossed again, even after you put that message out, you cut them off with your sword.
Them off with. Whew, before we get into cutting them off, let me take it back one step, because you gave it to him right there. Right? Let's get a little more into this Queen of Swords energy when you said communication, because you literally put it right there. Let's be honest. So many women that are going to hear this podcast, whether it's right now, whether it's 3 years from now, 5 years from now, right, can remember being in a space where they were so vulnerable, and there's nothing wrong with being vulnerable, right? But because they did not honestly, clearly communicate, their cup and saucer was flipped over, stepped on, fine china, and rolled over with an 18-wheeler truck, right? But again, personal accountability, there was no communication, right? I remember back in my dating life, and it's so funny because I used to think that, like, where's my person? Where's my person? Like, where are my relationships not turning out straight, right? And then it was just, I think literally like last year or so, when it dawned on me, or like 2020, Breye'l, you never said what you wanted, right? You never walked into these scenarios saying, this is who I am, this is what I want. And of course, we are not talking about, I want a 5-bedroom house, I want this, I want that, he has to have this. We're talking about characteristics of a man that will truly be a great reflection of me as a woman, right? So I never truly communicated those things, and not just only relationships. Let's be honest. We go to these jobs and we expect for these jobs to bow down at our feet, when there was no communication that you wanted 5 weeks of vacation time, or you wanted a peaceful work environment, or you wanted a non-micromanaging boss, right? When that communication is not there, it is so easy for the Queen of Cups energy that should be nice and pure to be broken.
Yes. And you know what happened? I've done that too, Bree. I've done it. I've been in a situation where I didn't speak up. I didn't even know I could speak up.
Right.
There's a lot of that too. But again, that's our past, our how we grew up, our childhood, that you are so afraid to lose that person. We don't speak up because we are afraid to lose the person. We're afraid to lose the job. We're afraid, afraid, afraid. And what ends up happening is that then you are a broken person,
Mm.
but I don't think anyone is ever broken, by the way. That's the good news. But we just feel it. We
Right.
feel broken, and the problem with that is that the queen of by the way, the Queen of Swords does show up. She shows up. The problem is that the Queen of Cups is so in lack because she doesn't love herself, that she's like, no, 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 I can't let this one go. I cannot let you take over here.
Right.
And so we don't exercise that queen inside of us, because the other queen is struggling so much. And so what happens, unfortunately, is that you struggle for years. For years you've got these people coming in and taking from you, and you giving as well, by the way. This is it's not a pity party here. We are also taking responsibility for what we didn't do.
Exactly.
But also, society plays a huge role in this, in the fact that, the way that women are portrayed for years, our bodies, it's like you and I talked about this. I'm appreciated because I look a certain way. So I use that as leverage and I go and look that way. So that's what I attract. And it doesn't work like that. This is a vessel. Yes, I love my body. I love getting dressed up. I love being the queen energy that I am. But I ain't doing that for anybody.
Except for me.
It's for me. Yes, it's for the girl in the mirror. It's not for a man.
Yes.
Because everything that I am is what I'm looking for as an appreciation from another, from the opposite sex.
And that's the
I'm not looking. Exactly. I'm not looking for them to only be attracted to my body.
Right.
That's great too, but that's not what I bring to the table.
Right. And when you were saying about the Queen of Cups and then the Queen of Swords, and then you mentioned like how we can come up with avatars, right? I can truly see all four of them in my head, right? Like, of course you can, right? And I think about how we were saying how we sit in this energy for years and years and years. And how I could see it is like, imagine, like, again, the most vulnerable side of you, right? Like, we literally can imagine her, like, just vulnerability just dripping from head to toe, right? And as these situations come up day after day, week after week, month after month, year after year, just imagine dragging that tired version of you to every battle, that tired vulnerability. And again, we're taking a personal accountability. So as we do that, the personal accountability has to show us at the same time that every time we do that, before we drag it or after we drag ourselves right there, we tell the Queen of Swords, the other version of us, no, I got this again. I don't need you. I don't need you. I don't need you. So then just imagine, right? When we do finally get to when a woman's fed up, right? When we finally get
threshold, right?
Threshold. Right? Now, many of us trying to figure out why the Queen of Swords comes busting through the door with the sword, swiping everybody's neck off, right? And we're like, oh, now I gotta cut this person off. Yeah. But let's be honest, right? We could have been did that earlier before, but again, we were intentionally telling ourselves, like you said, I don't want to let them go. I don't want to let them go. I don't know who I'm going to be without them. I don't know what I'm going to do without them. I don't know what life is going to do, what it's going to be without them. But again, the rising part, right? The being resilient part, that is recognizing that elevation in some way, shape, or form is always the mission, right? So if we start to feel like, all right, they're taking advantage, I feel like I'm getting taken advantage, I feel like I'm getting taken advantage. As women, be okay with sitting your soft self down somewhere and calling in the other version of you that's willing to cut things off when they start to get shaky at a 3. Like, let's stop letting things get all the way to a number 8 or a number 9 when we're ready to burn a freaking building down before we call the Queen of Swords energy to come help us.
That's right. And at that point, you're so right. At that point, what happens is that you are so depleted of
Hmm.
your pure loving energy that then this Queen of Swords goes out of balance as well. So let's say she comes in and cuts everybody off. Then you know what you're going to do? You're going to put up a huge ass wall around you and say, I'm not going to let anyone in anymore because this is the shit that happened to me for years.
Yeah, and you know what happens? We
That's not
confuse,
balance.
it's not, and we confuse the wall with standards.
Exactly. Oh my God, you're so good at this.
Right?
Yes. Yes. Your wall is not your standard. It's not standards. It's not. Your standards are, and by the way, standards are malleable. You know, it's not cut and dry. It's not written in stone. That's why I tell people when you do a values sort of assessment of
Mhm.
what your needs are, do it every couple of years,
Yes.
because every couple of years it will change. It will also change with the person that comes into your life. Let's
Right.
say you attract an amazing emperor and there's one value that you have that's pretty rigid, and it could be malleable because this person has had a past and they're working on something. So you can maybe, you know, be a little sort of lighter on that value.
Right.
Just meanwhile, because that person is still working on themselves, it's not like they're taking advantage of you.
Right.
If you're so hardcore about your values and about, then again, the Queen of Swords is saying, nope, nope, this is a no.
Because
You can't
everything
do
turns
that.
into a no. Let's be honest, right?
Everything's a red flag.
Everything is.
Everyone's a narcissist.
Man, you're walking inside the grocery store like I saw somebody blink at me. He blinked at me. Oh my gosh.
Oh dear,
Calm
he's a narcissist. That's the thing, you know. I hate labeling people as, you know, whatever, but the narcissist label is so overused. And I'm not negating the fact that there are narcissists out there, but there
Yeah.
are some people who have narcissistic traits.
Right.
They're not full-blown narcissists, they just have narcissistic traits. By the way, all of us have narcissistic
And
traits.
I was just about to say that it's so funny. I truly believe, because let's be honest, like the narcs, that term really just kind of surfaced up, right? And I truly
It's just blown up.
it is. And I find that most people who have a position to label people narcs, you're a narc. Like, it's a mirror, right? You're only going to see that much of a narcissism in someone when you can reflect that same type of energy. Because let's be honest, if you're operating from a compassionate standpoint, back to the unconditional love, back to the, I don't have to judge you. I don't have to care in real life about how you operate, right? But I'm just going to decide to see the highest version of yourself, of that person. It inevitably makes us less of a narc, more compassion, less narcissism, but people.
Exactly. You understand and then you walk away. If this doesn't work for me, I walk away, but I get it. I get it. There's stuff going on. I'm not judging you. You know, it's cool. So that brings you back into balance where you're not going around saying, well, you're this and you're this. And
Yeah.
let them see. Here's the thing, work on you, and again, use your Queen of Swords as discernment for yourself and your protection.
Yep.
We don't have to go around pointing fingers at other people. That's their life. That's
Right.
what their choice is.
Right. And again, if as women we can relax, like if we can relax, the protector energy is always going to be there, right? Like when you
Yes.
manifest a partner who brings that in for you, it's just because you were able to recognize that that energy is already there to protect you, right? I think about some of my friends, or I'm not even going to say my friends, because I had to talk with my grandma a couple of weeks ago, and she was like, nobody's your friend, right? You need to get that through your head, like. And which is funny because I know we put people in their respective places, but me using
Yes.
with her, she was like, no, you need to get that right. Like,
Yeah.
only really call them your friend if they're your friends. But I look at some of the people like who I used to surround myself with, right? And I think about how I'm so free, right? Like I'm such a free person. Like I said, I literally met my husband online, and then 2 months later we were married. And there weren't like, oh, well, what if he's a this? What if he's a that? And what if he's a this? I think that if more women, if more people can put themselves in a space to recognize that bad things are not the inevitable. We are not doomed. Like this life truly wants us to experience it at the highest vibrational frequency where you can think of a thought and it comes to you. I literally watched your video, a different video on your Instagram earlier today too, where you were talking about a quote that you heard that was saying,
Yes.
the water cannot sink the ship. You watched a video that night and it came in the video. Manifestations literally are supposed to happen for us that fast, as long as we can resist release the resistance.
That's right. Absolutely. And, honestly, I come down to this point where you just said, you, here's the thing. What happens with us is that what we take in terms of the queens, the queen of cups, the queen of swords, what happens is we forget to balance them out. And once we balance them out, what happens is we start seeing ourselves in other queens that start showing up that we didn't even know existed. That's what happened to me. Because what I did was I only balanced to these two queens, the queen of swords and the queen of cups. Those are the only two I balanced. But the way I balanced the Queen of Cups is when my Queen of Wands came out. Now, the Queen of Wands, for me, she's the one that communicates. She's the one that is sensual. She's the one that believes that she's sexy no matter what. She's sitting in her PJs and she's sexy. She's sitting, in her bathtub and she's sexy. She walks out of her house and she's sexy. She doesn't need validation from the outside.
Exactly.
She has validation filled inside of her. She knows who she is. If she doesn't get likes on Instagram, her life is not over. She knows how amazing she is. That's where the manifestation energy comes in, is that I believe in me and my sensuality, and I can attract, because sensuality is really a powerful force that can attract so much. And that's when the manifestation came in. And so these queens started showing up without me even realizing that this was happening, because the Queen of Cups needed love. The cup needed to be filled. And love also came with sensuality, with me feeling amazing in my own body and in my own personality that I brought to the table. I wasn't too sensitive. I wasn't too much. I wasn't asking for anything that was, too much for someone to give. I'm like, I am sensitive, because me being sensitive helps me be in beautiful connections with people.
Right. Sensitivity is so important.
It's a strength that people don't realize how much of a strength being friends or partners or anything with a sensitive human being is the fact that they'll be able to gauge a lot of emotions. They'll be able to give you so much that someone who's not very sensitive to your emotions can give you. And that's a huge strength for a human being. Think about it, Bree. Wouldn't you like it if somebody was sensitive and realized, oh, Bree, you're hurt? Not like, oh, I'm sorry, that was a joke. That's stupid for you to think that way. No.
I believe that it's important for us to surround ourselves with like-minded individuals for reasons like that, right? Like, not trying to be funny, but sensitive people, when they hang around sensitive people, you're going to have a good vibe. Sensitive people, when you hang around desensitized people,
you will feel, because you will feel snubbed. How many times have you felt snubbed when someone says, I'm sorry you feel that way?
Or I don't care, or anything that it literally,
or I don't want to apologize, so I'm going to blame the whole thing on you and your sensitivity, and that you just feel that way, like you're stupid to feel that way because not everybody else doesn't feel that way.
Exactly.
What?
I'm telling you, it goes back to and even if we line them up like this, respectively speaking, right? Like when you have that Queen of Cups, and then you have, look right here, matter of fact, so crazy. So we have a candle, and then we have a saucer, right? So then the candle gets filled all the way up, right? And so then the overflow is inside the saucer. So this is what we have to give the people now. Now we still full over here, but we're gonna set this to the side because we get to chill now, right? So now we have the overflow right here. And that overflow has now put us in the space of communication. That overflow is communication. So again, now we're at the Queen of Swords. And that communication, like you said, is now so much more clear because we've set clear boundaries and standards. Because let's be honest, we already separated ourselves from this extra that we're about to give out to people. So once I give them this communication, whether they like it or not, it has nothing to do with me over there, because I've already anyway separated the two. They can no longer
Yes.
affect my full cup that sits over here away from the people, right?
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
the Queen of Swords comes and she now has the ability to operate in this magnetic energy of communication to say, with what I'm about to say, I know it's so real because my real me sitting over here, that's so real. With this communication, the reality is going to come that I'm now going to have to take action towards the manifestation that I want, right? Because we didn't fill this cup up and not learn anything, right?
Exactly.
We didn't,
Exactly.
we didn't fill that up and just be like, oh, well, now I'm full, but I'm going to sit inside the same thing. No,
Yes,
right?
exactly.
We're ready
Exactly.
for the manifestation. So now I feel like that Queen of Wands comes in to really say,
Exactly.
I can move forward,
I'm
right?
good. Yes,
I'm
I
good.
believe in me.
I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. I've poured out. I've given this communication. And a big part of it
Yeah.
too is how we continue to communicate with ourselves, right? Because of course, the subconscious mind is going to put us in a space where we want to relive those past experiences, right? Or like we said,
Yes.
that wall can sometimes look like fake standards. That can then also look like, I'm so scared, and I should be scared because I'm going to use these examples. I've already been through that before.
Yes, it's
What does
happened
that
to me
happen with that?
before. Yes. Yes, absolutely. It's not easy. You have a lot of work that goes into this. I'm not saying it's easy. I come from a place where none of my queens were balanced. I just want to say, not even a single one.
Mhm.
And I came from a place of complete scarcity and complete depletion, to the point where I was literally on the floor thinking, oh my God, I'm so invaluable. Nobody in this world values me. Whether I'm here or not, it does not make a difference. That's how I felt. So I completely understand and empathize and sympathize and sort of can see myself every time in that place. I remember that place, not because I want to dwell in it, but because I learn from it. But for me to bring all of these queens in balance, that's why I can teach it so well, is because I know that this is not easy. So to take really small baby steps
Mhm.
towards it. And it's a cha-cha. It's a two steps forward, one step back, two
One to
steps
the left,
forward, one
one
step
to the
back,
right.
one to the left, one to the right. Someone will come in and they will trigger your something that you didn't even know was a trigger. And they will trigger it, and you're like, oh crap, I'm at this again. And then you're down in the dumps again. And then your queens pick you up again. But guess where that picking up comes from? The picking up comes from that confidence that you build, that self
Yep.
sort of value that you build, and then it gets faster and faster. The picking up process gets faster
It
and faster.
really does.
It does. And one day you will be at a place, the one that Bree described, where you are completely separate from the saucer that you offered, that it makes no difference. I'm good with or without you.
I'm telling you. I'm
If you
telling
want to be in my magical frequency, great. But I'm having so much fun in my own magical frequency that if you're not there, it's cool. But if you are, I'll share it with you.
right, 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 right. Because we're not letting the past sit on us like boulders on our shoulder, right? Like carrying around the weight. I remember listening to a tarot reading a while ago, and she really read me when she was talking about cancers, and she was like, you guys are the only one that takes your hurts and hangs them up on the wall and looks at them and just like nobody's counting except for you. And when she
Yeah,
said that, it was just like, no, but that's real, right? Like I can have
exactly.
this experience from childhood, I can have this experience from high school, I can think about when this happened, when that happened, when this happened. Nobody's counting except for me. So while I was running my brain cells back, right? Just constantly feeling every single day of, and it's so funny because let's talk really quick too about paying attention, right?
Yes.
Like energies is currencies, and whatever we
Yes.
pay attention to or spend time on, it's going to affect the manifestation that comes about in the future. So we realize like, whoa, I was 20, now I'm 30, and I feel like I'm living the same life. Are you still thinking the same thoughts?
Yeah, I should have done this. I could have done this. It would have turned out like this. Shoulda, coulda, woulda. That's my message today on Instagram. Are you in the loop of shoulda, coulda, woulda? Seriously, go on Instagram today. Shoulda, coulda, woulda. Stop shooting on yourself.
Stop shooting on. Stop.
It's
Stop.
not mine. It's not mine. I heard it somewhere, but it's brilliant. It's brilliant. Stop shooting on yourself.
Stop shooting on yourself. For
Yeah.
real. Stop shooting on
Yeah.
yourself, because the shooting instantly kills Queen of Wands energy, right?
Yes.
Because
Yes.
when you're shooting on yourself, one of my clients said this statement yesterday when I was talking on the phone with her. She said, because she turned 30, and I asked her, like, if you could take one lesson with you from the 20s, like, moving forward into the 30s, she said she needs to stop being the first person to tell herself no.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yes. And I feel like it
That's
goes
a really good one.
shooting on yourself. Like,
yes.
Always being in that space where as soon as you have a brilliant idea, right? Or as soon as you put yourself out there, well, I don't know, should I? You didn't even give the opportunity a chance to unfold. Like, you instantly, like we said, when we were in Queen of Cups energy, telling the Queen of Swords to sit down, sis, I got this. You're doing the same exact thing in the Queen of Swords energy to the Queen of Wands. That now that you cut this and cut this and cut this and put these boundaries and these personal situations up, it's time to take action. But you're telling the Queen of Wands every time, nah, you should just sit down and play it safe because we done got hurt, right? You should just not even think those thoughts because it's not going to work. You remember that time when we filled out that application and they never got back to us? Meanwhile, the application probably never went through anyway.
Yeah. And what you've just done is you've assumed a whole story. You made a whole story up in your head. And okay, let's just say legitimately it didn't work out for whatever reason. And it doesn't work out again. And it doesn't work out again. And it doesn't work out again. Did you know how many times Edison tried to create a light bulb?
Exactly.
I think that is the most important lesson to learn here. That this man kept trying and trying and trying thousands of times. I don't even know the number, but it's a significant number.
No, it really is.
It's insane how many times this man tried. Now you can say, oh, well, he was very passionate. Why can't you be passionate?
Because again,
what's stopping you?
When we think about it, I just put this on Instagram the other day, right? That it was 7.9 billion people on the face of the earth. 127,000 people were born yesterday morning. By yesterday morning when I made that post, right? Edison in that time and space probably thought, I'm gonna help the neighborhood, right? Like, I'm gonna just get the neighborhood with some lights on. And then now here we are, right? All these years later, and effortlessly, we know this light is going on when we click the button, right? Why can't we see ourselves as, I'm gonna try, I'm gonna put all my everything into it. I'm not missing one opportunity because, okay, yeah, I failed 5 times. Yeah, I failed 10 times. Because the failing part and the wanting it so quick is nothing but social media. It's nothing but instant gratification, right? It appears that people have become overnight success online. So we think it's going to be an overnight success when it's not really that, because keeping it so real in any space, like any space, because I know we're going to talk about the Queen of Pentacles. When you get past, you don't even value anything you get for free or that you really don't put in work for. When you don't really work for something, you can get, quote unquote, the manifestation. It's not going to be pure. It's not going to be sincere. It's going to be something that's going to give you back what you put out, right? So as women, with these ideas and these dreams that we have inside our head, you gotta put that work in. You can't, like you said, be shoulda, coulda, woulda, hoping that one day the phone call is gonna come through like, hey, I'd like to offer you a job for $1 million. What did you do to even deserve that job?
Exactly. And also you're limiting so much of what you can do. And this applies for relationships. So, all the ladies that are thinking, I give so much and, blah, blah. That man's not appreciating you. Maybe because I'm just going man and woman, it could be any gender, but that person is not appreciating you because you're handing it to him or her or whatever in a platter. They feel like they didn't even deserve that, so now they're questioning whether you're okay, like
Right.
whether you're in the right mind and your intentions are right, and you're not just like falling over someone, just anyone, and people want to be valued, they want to work for something. Most relationships where both parties are putting in equal effort, they know that they earned this,
Right.
that
Right.
relationship. It's not because it just happened overnight. And many of us, me included, by the way, has made this mistake of giving too much because that is my nature. But you have to reel yourself in and bring out that Queen of Swords and say, hang on, sis, let's see what comes back.
Right.
You gave a little, that's cool, that was your saucer to give. If we don't get it back, it's good. We've accepted the fact that we're okay to lose this part, but let's just wait and see if it comes back.
Because
Watch.
that expectation, right? Well, I'm not going to say expectation because that's not what I want to use. Let's wait and see if it comes back. There's so much power in that, right? Because sometimes when we're givers, we give so much, you don't even give somebody an opportunity to even pour back into you. Because again, we're just pouring so much all over one thing, right? So being able to see, I can give, and there's nothing wrong with giving, right? Nothing wrong with it, because I know some women, I'm telling you, I see it. I've given, so I'm not giving to nobody nothing ever again. Well, that's not the solution.
That now you went to the other extreme. So now what are we gonna do?
Exactly.
Now you're not approachable anymore. So no one's gonna want to be with you because you're like, yeah, you went from being a rose to a cactus.
Ooh.
And you know what I mean? It's like you were a rose that everybody wanted to pick, and they did, and then they crushed you, and they made you into rose water, and you're just like, crap, this is not fun. But then you went into being a cactus, which like nobody wants to touch or they'll prick themselves. You want to be that flower that nobody picks. They actually water and they actually nurture and let grow. And basically it's one of those like, I love you, so I'm not going to pick you and hurt you. That's what you're looking for. But that only comes with the fact that I've protected myself and given you the saucer and appreciated everything about you. But if you don't give me the same type of energy, maybe not the same type of love, we're different when we love, that's fine. But if I don't get reciprocal energy, walk away. Now, why don't we walk away? And I'm including myself in this. Why don't we walk away? I'm afraid to lose him. I'm afraid that, I like him too much. There's
I'm scared to be by myself, right? Like that's a big one I see too. The afraid time to be by themselves. But the powerful part about being by yourself is high priestess energy, right?
Yes.
The high priestess, it's black and white.
And you know for a fact that there's more. There's more coming.
Big world energy. Big world
with or without you. Yeah, it's with or without you. It's like, here's the thing. I don't believe in soulmates anymore. I know it sounds a bit odd for some. I'm one of those just diehard romantic women who believes in soulmates, and but I don't believe in soulmates anymore. I believe that my best friend can be my soulmate. So I don't believe in opposite whatever love whatever, but I do believe that there are souls that are destined to be together in a sense of energy. My energy and their energy is similar, and so we just attract each other by destiny or by appreciation of each other's energy. But the minute that I realize that that person's energy isn't the same for me anymore, and that this is not working and it's making me sad and miserable, there's another soul out there. There is.
Every time, waiting for you. If you really,
Yes.
really think about it, right? Because all energy is ever present. That's why I love Bob Proctor. Like we both love Bob. But like
Yeah,
Bob
we
talks
love
about
Bob Proctor.
all energy is super ever present, right? So like if you're wanting to go from one level to the next level, you don't have to wait for next Thursday for that level to load. It's it's already right there. All the energies are already ever present. So the way the energy is set up, respectively speaking, the moment you clear yourself of one thing, the moment you release yourself from one thing, again, we're not saying it's hard, we're just telling you what it takes, right?
Yeah.
When you
Yeah.
release yourself from one thing, you make space for another. And that next can be so good if that's where your intentions are set. If you want better, you'll get better. If only thoughts that you're thinking are negative thoughts, you're going to get what you want. See, that's the amazing part about earth that we live in, right? It's all about the attraction, the vibrational frequencies, the tones of it all. If you're exuding an energy saying that I'm getting exactly what I need, what I deserve, what I earn, what my heart desires for the highest version of me, you'll find that unfolding every single time. But again, it all takes action. We can sit here and we can talk about this for hours and hours and hours on end, the same way the women can listen to the podcast for hours and hours and hours on end. But you have to take action.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Action comes with it. Unfortunately, we can't just sit here and wait by the window and say, "Yeah, I've dreamt of so and so. I have a list. I'm good. It's coming."
It's
You
coming.
know, I don't know how that works. I really don't, because I feel like I'm here for a purpose. I'm
Right.
here to serve us in a certain way. So when you, and I'm not saying you sit here and you toil over the fact that I got to do this to get the money. I got to do that to get the money. Serve, just serve.
And for the women who love to give because you're givers, it's fine. If you notice that the people who you're giving to isn't appreciating your giving, don't stop giving. Just stop giving to them.
Exactly. Change your focus.
Go to
Give
a
it to yourself
community center.
first.
Yeah, give it to yourself. Give it to the homeless people. Give it to
Yes.
give it somewhere else. But don't put up the wall and stop giving, because the only way you're gonna get is if you give. So speaking of getting, right? Because we got three queens already down.
Yes, we've got one more.
Tell me about the last one.
So she's the main event, right? So we got to balance these three to get to the fourth. So now what have we done? We've balanced the Queen of Cups. She feels amazing in her own love. Her own love, okay? Then we've got the Queen of Swords, who's in the mode of I'm good as long as my boundaries are set and as long as I am safe.
Right.
The third one was the Queen of Wands, who's like communication on point, sexiness, attractiveness for myself on point,
Right.
validation for myself on point. So now you've got the Queen of Pentacles, and she's the one that is self reliant.
Yes.
That, and by the way, she doesn't have to be someone who goes out there and works or has a business or makes money. She is the one that is so sufficient in herself that she can create
Mm.
anything she wants.
Yep.
So in this case, the pentacles would be money.
Yep.
She can create her own money. She can go out there and create her own business. She can go out there and create her own job opportunity. She can go out there and create anything she wants in terms of money and receive it. But she has to work from these three queens first
Right.
to be so confident in her own self that she's like, once I set my mind to this manifestation, I'm good and I'm going to receive it.
Yes. 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 And I must tell you, ladies, okay, I built queenhood off of the energy of the Queen of Pentacles. Like, literally, I remember Googling what the tarot card Queen of Pentacles meant, because the energy just resonated so much with me. And
Yeah.
at this time, I really wasn't even putting like, oh, I can be the Queen of Cups or I can be the this. It was just I noticed that that energy just resonated so much. And I literally embodied exactly what you said. I recognized that I had already gone through my space of solitude, right? I had already went through my space of respectively cutting off people, places, and things that was no longer serving me. And when we talk about no longer serving me, just meaning they just did not make me feel good because I knew that I wanted to feel better. Nobody's fault. I didn't blame anybody. I just simply
That's
said,
right.
I feel like I need more. So I respectively cut those people off. I came into the new version of myself, that new version of, like you said, my sensuality. I went through a celibate phase. I was not looking for a man to validate me, a man to be anything to me because I could be what I needed for myself. And again, I didn't set up those high walls of, okay, so because I'm to myself, this means I don't need a man, or it wasn't none of that. It was just, I'm making myself better right now. So I need to be with myself. And so once I got to that playing field, right, I recognize, like, I need some of this. I need some money.
Mm.
What's up with
Mm.
this? And then when I saw that Queen of
Mm.
Pentacles and I saw her sitting in that chair in nature, and she, her pinnacle like right there just around
Yeah.
her, and just the greenery and the natural, I was able to tap in and resonate with that and recognize, okay girl, wait a minute, we can create streams of income as well, right? We can do the same thing. And I must admit, at that point in time, I didn't know. I didn't know exactly what that would look like, right? But I opened up myself and my energy to a space to receive the downloads, right? To start to
Yes.
receive the information. I increased my vibrational frequency so that I could start to attract to myself the answers. Because, to like you said, we don't have to go running around, jumping, screaming, trying to figure out what it is. We can chill, we can relax, and we can just love on us, and everything else will come about. And so I'm telling you, when I started getting the downloads, and then I came up with queenhood, and then I started creating these streams of income and attracting myself and meeting more beautiful women who were talking about the same thing. I'm like, what, wait.
I love that. How cool is that? I love that. And
Yes.
again, things that you didn't even mean to attract that. That just came with, the flow that you were in.
Yep.
And so that's another byproduct of the fact that if you are in a certain flow, these energies are going to be attracted to you when you didn't even think of that. What you're thinking of is totally different.
Yes, and when you stop wanting one thing, because that's the thing. Jim Rowe, one of Bob's friends, really put into even more perspective too. Think about this: not one seed that you plant only produces one thing. You plant any seed, you're gonna get an abundance of whatever that one seed is that you place. And sometimes it's hard for us to let go of that one thing, that one job, that one relationship, that one friend. But to, like you said, when you let go of it and it opens up the flow, you open up the flow. And if we imagine the flow, the new thing being like water, 9 times out of 10 we're probably just calling in one more thing, right? Like, okay, so I had to let
That's
go of that
right.
man, now I want a new man. I had to let go of that job, now I want a new job.
Right.
When you open yourself up, let's be honest, if water was to come flooded to us right now, which is the one thing that we want, it's so much water. So many other things come that you didn't even know was coming inside the water, right? Like,
That's right.
it's
It's
crazy.
incredible. It's a really, really incredible that you don't even imagine what else will come.
Uh,
And again, that is the high priestess saying, I know, I already know what's going to happen. You don't have to, there's no guesswork involved. There's no, oh my God, what's going to happen? What's really going to happen? You don't need to know.
you don't
You're
need to know.
good
You don't
because
need.
you will already know. You haven't tapped into that. That's okay. But just as this is a cliche that most people use, but trust the process.
No,
Just
it's
trust the process.
trust. Let me tell you, trust the process. Ladies, if y'all are listening to this, I'm telling you, you better trust that process, okay? Because
It's the biggest cliche that we hear all the time, but we still say it.
You gotta say it. You gotta say it because you have to. The reason why you gotta trust the process because it's, let's be honest, you nor me nor anybody knows what happened before we were born, right?
That's right.
We
That's
don't know
right.
what's gonna happen when we die. Yet we wake up every day and don't even question, like, is the air gonna be okay? Are my eyeballs gonna open? Is the sun gonna? There's clearly something bigger.
You just know. Yeah, you know the sun's gonna rise. Have you ever thought to yourself, is the sun not gonna rise tomorrow?
What happens tomorrow with the sun?
There is no freaking possibility in the world, that the sun is not gonna rise unless something really detrimental is going on in the world.
Facts.
Unless we've done something to the environment or something, right? But that this is what's going to happen, just like you're going to wake up tomorrow morning. You actually don't know that.
Exactly. We
take it for granted.
Yeah,
we take it for granted. So why can't we just take for granted the fact that I know something amazing is going to happen to me? Let's take that for granted.
You know what? That's what we're doing moving forward. I'm about to start taking the big things for granted, because when you really think, taking it for granted meaning that
be granted to you.
It's granted. Damn it. We're queens. And that's how I embody the queenhood energy, right? I'm so unapologetic at the fact that it's my birthright. I'm going to be wealthy. It's my birthright. I'm rich in potential. It's my birthright. I can live out the potential. It's my birthright. It's mind-boggling. And again, ladies, if you can shift from the self-sabotage, shift from the shoulda, coulda, woulda, shift from the, well, they're not doing that, and shift from all of that. And now, as you listen to this podcast episode and moving forward, 4 categories. Ask yourself on a daily basis when situations come up. Is this affecting my Queen of Swords? Is this affecting my Queen of Wands? How does my Queen of Pentacles feel about this? Oops, somebody hurting my feelings. Queen of Swords, where you at? Where you at? Or I think I see a new business opportunity. Let me pull out my Queen of Pentacles energy, operate from her mindset. There are 4 different mindsets that you can tap into every day. You really have to, if you really want to be an empress, right? Like if you really want that next level energy, you have to tap into them.
Exactly. And when you are an empress, Bree, this is the final one that I love delivering. When you are an empress, you will only be with an emperor. But if you're not, let's say you do not find an emperor, then you rule your empire on your own. Yes. Because you are an empress. That's the bottom line, with or without you.
Yep.
If you're not emperor energy, I'm sorry, goodbye.
Goodbye. And there's so much power in that, because literally, if you look up the definition of a queen, which is another reason why I make queenhood, it's defined as a female ruler of an independent estate, especially one inherited by birthright. That's literally the definition, right? So when we see ourselves as a woman, and if your desire is for your independent estate to be a half an acre, 1 acre, 15 acres, 5,000 acres, 5,000 companies, 1 trillion employees, 500 kids, whatever that independent estate looks like for you, it's your job to rule that, right? And rule it as an empress, rule it as a woman who is in so much control emotionally, mentally, financially, her actions, sexuality. Rule that in a true, pure balance. And like you said, inevitably, you'll attract that emperor. See, I truly believe that so many more women will attract husbands moving forward, because the vibrational frequency and the consciousness of women are now elevating. And for all the women who've already been in previous marriages and it hasn't worked out, that doesn't define you as a woman, right? It
Yes.
might not even define the husband as a man, because we all grow through learning. We're all on ascension journeys on our own,
Yeah, we're
right?
all growing. Yeah, yeah, yeah. We're all growing, especially with men. I hear this. A couple of my friends have told me about online dating, right? And a lot of these apps are very frustrating for them. And we actually had a clubhouse room about it, where these women were literally telling us stories about what happens. You know, the ghosting, the just game playing, and oh, I was just messing, and all of that. And some even committed men on there just playing the field or whatever. And my friend was like, it's just so frustrating to go through this when you have raised your standards and your vibration, and you have learned and grown, and you've become this queen energy, and you're looking for that, and you just received all of these boys instead of men.
Hmm. Hmm.
And these what do you call it in the tarot, with the one cup with the fish coming out of him? Oh my god.
That's
uh what
Page
I
of
mean?
Cups.
The Page of Cups. All they get is the damn Page of Cups, and they're just like with the stinky fish coming out of it, and they're just like, I've had it,
Yeah.
because I think that the rate that the women are rising in terms of consciousness, the men in terms of the number is less, and that's
Hmm.
understandable. So
You
a lot
know,
of my girlfriends have told me that in the just sheer numbers, I think the women's consciousness has risen a lot, in terms of numbers, and the men, it's growing very slowly. So there's a very small pool of sort of men whose consciousness
who's
has
who's
the
who's
same.
who's getting right. You know, it's funny you mentioned
Yes.
like the dating apps. I met my husband on a dating app, and in 4 days, he
Mm.
knew he wanted to marry me. In
Oh
four
wow.
days, he said, "I want to be your man, and I already know I want to marry you." And it's so funny because I think a big part about that is energetic wise. When 2020 hit, because I like to follow like astrology and like the planets
Yeah.
and all of that type of stuff, bigger than tarot, actual
Yeah.
the planetary movement affects the world, right? When
Yes.
2020 hit, there was an energy shift back into the yang energy, right? Into the feminine energy. And when
Oh, it happened on December 20th when they had that Saturn.
Saturn, Jupiter,
Yes. Yes,
yes,
yes, I remember
I'm
that.
telling
I
you. And
remember that. I remember that.
when we shifted, right? That was years of masculinity ruling in a masculine demeanor. So now here we are now in the women, everything is coming back to the natural room. So yes, you are 100% correct. Women are awakening, but I truly believe that if more women can recognize the fact that, and I'm talking to the women who want to be on the social on the dating apps, because see, when I got on the dating app, my mindset instantly said, I'm ready to get married, right? And
Mm,
I'm on a dating app because this is what this is for. Like,
right.
I'm
Right.
supposed to meet someone and date. And then a couple of
Yes.
times, right, before I end up meeting Rich, the guys before that, they played games, right? But
Right.
again, my mentality never shifted from the desire, right? And I
Mm,
never put, see, I knew these apps would be like this. Like and I feel like a lot of
mm,
women do that because they feel like they've already raised up to this level. Again, the standards get confused with discernment, the fear of running into the same thing they've already ran into. Like I feel like women,
yes.
it has to be a pure balance, even emotionally, of recognizing. As a woman, you may have elevated conscious level, but is your consciousness so elevated that you're now masculine? Because
That's right.
if you are so far over there, you're gonna attract beta males. You're gonna attract men who kind of just want to play, because if your consciousness is so kind of high but masculine, you tip the boat over, right?
That's
And
right. That's right.
it comes with that balance of recognizing, okay, so yeah, my consciousness is high. Yeah, I got it together. Yeah, I got these four queens. But let me go back to my Queen of Cups, right? And let
Yes.
me look at her from a different perspective and see
Yeah.
in real life, what is it that I'm truly looking for from a man? What am I
Yeah.
truly looking for from the masculine energy? What is my masculine energy truly calling for? And now that I have clarity on that, that's what I'm attracting. I promise you, so much women will get on dating apps and actually find somebody worth it if they
Yeah.
change the perspective of what they're looking for from their masculine perspective. But hey, this is just me. I'm not an expert. I only can say what I
I
did.
like that though. And you have experience. So it's great that you're sharing that, because it's important for a lot of women to know how to do this, and how to navigate the fact that, let's say that they do get quote unquote played. I don't, I don't know what else to call it, but you know, to pick themselves up in a way that they, as you just said, that's going to happen. It's okay. It's part and parcel of the journey, and there are people who haven't reached that consciousness, and so that's where they're coming from. And it's almost as if you're saying it's okay. It's okay, you move on. It's a error in judgment or whatever,
I
and you
mean,
move on
really,
from there. And you don't blame yourself for being a certain way, and that's why you're attracting these people or whatever. And if there's something that you feel that, for example, I was saying, sometimes you feel like, oh, I like him too much, and you let shit go for too long, and then it's, you've gotten hurt a few times now. Then you change that. You're able to tweak that for the next time and say, okay, I get it. Yeah, I take full responsibility for this one, because I see you know um what error of judgment happened here and why it went on for a while. So this time what I'm going to do is, not as soon as I feel something, I'll communicate it. If it's not reciprocated, I will respectfully step back and say, I really like this person, this sucks, but I love myself.
because you only truly get hurt again when you didn't put that boundary of
Yes,
putting the swords forward in the beginning. So again, a lot of women on these dating apps, they're in a space where they are talking to these men 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 12 months. You and I met, and we instantly knew that we had a connection of what we wanted to talk about, right? Like,
exactly.
it is what it is. And if in, like you said, in 3 weeks, if I give you a red flag or you give me a red flag, the only way either one of us can hurt our feelings afterwards is if one of us stick around and not communicate.
Exactly. It
Right.
completely, and yes, I completely agree. I could not agree more. Is that it's okay for us to find out 2 months later that there's a red flag. It's completely okay for us to do that. Error of judgment, yes, but don't continue with that error of judgment.
Just let it go.
So yes, but we continue because we're afraid to lose them. We're afraid to be alone. Loneliness is a thing. It's a very big thing in our lives, and where we haven't filled our own cup fully to know that there is better. There is, more. And I look in the mirror and I say, damn, you're amazing.
You're
You didn't
amazing.
you don't deserve to cry over something. You don't deserve to be
Over a
hurt.
little spilled saucer? Oh, you want to cry because you spilled a little bit out of this saucer?
I got enough. I got a ton of that coming inside. Like, you know what? Always feel a lot of women. I feel like shaking them up and saying, you've got so much love to give. Yes, you gave a lot of it, but that came. Don't change the fact that you're a giver. That's amazing. You have love to give. That person did not, deserve it or whatever, and they moved on. But your plus point is the love that you have to give. It's not because you are receiving all this love and you're like, oh my God, the love is
Yeah.
gone. No, it's because you gave the love. You have the love.
It starts
That's
with
a good
you. It
thing.
starts. Power of affirmations. I'm telling you, power
Hey,
of
if you're a loving human
empowering
being who
us.
gave too much, that's a good thing.
Right. It's okay. It's okay. And again, it's all a mirror. It's all a mirror,
Yeah.
right? Everything is all a mirror. So the moment you wake up and recognize, like, whoa, okay, I've been giving too much love. I've kind of been in a ghost town for the past 3 years, but I see this now. change it right now. And when we talk about ways to change it, right? Tell the women how it is that they can work with you. How do you take them from feeling like you said, I'm on the floor, and whether I'm alive or not alive, no one cares. How can they work with you? How can they reach out to you to go from that to Empress Energy?
Thank you for asking that. I actually have a program that I'm developing, and I put people on a waiting list where I'm still in the process of creating this beautiful program, which is based on the 4 queens. And we go through each queen, and we will check, and recheck what's going on with that queen inside of you. Because what happens is, when all of the queens are balanced, is when you will reach that point of becoming an empress. So it's called the Empress Empowerment Program. And you are the empress. You just haven't recognized, healed, and realized yourself yet.
Right.
And so once you recognize yourself, which is now I'm aware that I have the queens and maybe they're not in balance, then you heal. We have to heal the parts that are not, doing so well. Right. And that comes from society, childhood, the way you grew up, the way you've conducted yourself in your life afterwards, other people's beliefs, generational beliefs sometimes that you are carrying with you. And those are ones that you'd like to heal. And then you come back to yourself and say, okay, what are my values? What are my standards? What do I put together for myself? What are my boundaries? What are my likes and dislikes? And then you get to the Queen of Wands. Who am I? How do I dress? How do I look? How do I present myself? How do I communicate?
Right.
And then the last one is the Queen of Pentacles, is you believe in you. Yep. The belief that I can create anything.
Yeah.
And then we get to the with or without, which is I'm perfectly fine and happy with or without you, because the joy is in me. You're not giving me any joy. You're giving me some bonus happiness, which is great, lovely. Yeah. I can eat an ice cream and I get some lovely joy from the ice cream. But the ice cream isn't my joy. That without the ice cream, I don't miss the joy. I still have it inside of me.
Right.
But we don't do that for human beings. I don't know why. But you should consider everything like something that is an external bonus to you.
Count it all joy. Count it all joy.
Exactly. But your joy is inside. I can stand up right now and do a Bollywood dance and feel so happy inside of myself and amazing inside of myself. And nobody did that for me.
Right.
The Bollywood song. So let's give credit there.
Okay, fine. One time for the tunes and for the producer, okay?
Yes. Or I can walk in the sunshine right now. It's beautiful outside. I'm going to walk in the sunshine. And guess what? That is going to make me so joyous inside. And a human being didn't give me that. The sun gave me that.
Right.
So, those are the things. But the joy is still inside of me. I can create it at any point in time.
Yeah.
If I want to. I can write a poem and feel joyous. I created that.
Right.
So these are just extra bonuses, resources that I have.
Right.
But the joy is inside of me. I can be miserable eating an ice cream. I can be miserable walking in the sun.
Right.
I created that.
Right. Now in that, y'all gotta sign up for the Empress Empowerment Program, okay?
Yes.
You guys got to, because it's real. If it wasn't real, we wouldn't be sitting here right now, right?
No, we would not.
We wouldn't be sitting here right now. We wouldn't be resonating at this vibrational frequency of recognizing really what it is that you truly teach and empower women, right? Is how to go from.
Honestly, I honestly come from a place of realizing how it feels to be down so low that I cannot not teach this. If I have the secret, I cannot not share it.
Right.
and have every woman outside of me say, hey, I'm an empress. I
Right.
cannot not share that. I cannot keep it to
Um,
myself.
Let me tell you, I resonate a that. Do you know how amazing it is when I hear women say queenhood? Do you know how
Yeah.
amazing it feels to know that I've empowered myself to a space where I've created this thing? Because that's what you teach your women. You empower
Yes.
them to get
Yes.
to the level where they can create something where they're able to serve women, where those women are then able to thank them for creating that, then they thank you. And we're all in abundance because it's not a scarcity. Nothing's scarce. There's enough room for all of us to eat off the table and be amazingly abundant.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Which is why you have me on your podcast. You're sharing, you're so generously and beautifully and kindly and compassionately and with so much dignity, sharing me and my skills on your podcast,
Right.
because you don't think that that's going to reduce any of your clout. It's
Right.
not going to take anything away from you to shine the light on me.
Right. Right. If anything, it helps. If anything, because us connecting, you've secured so much more in me also, right? Like just me knowing, of course, I'm Queen of Pentacles, right? But that
Yeah.
reminder of, okay, Bree, so we've already conquered the Queen of Pentacles and we've conquered these other, well, when we say conquered and healing, as we both know,
Yeah.
it's an always journey, right? It's
Yes.
forever
Yes.
constant. But to keep in mind even more every single day that I'm balancing these four as an empress.
Yes.
Like this
That's right.
connection now will have me on another empress level. So then inevitably I exude that energy even higher, right? Like I can now think like, okay, I'm gonna be an even better wife because I'm even more Queen of Cups, right? I'm gonna be even better
Yes.
Queen of Swords as I set even more boundaries, and not even boundaries just cutting people off, but boundaries of cutting things off myself that no
That's right.
longer serves me. The words I speak over myself, the things I think about
Yes.
other people. The connection with you has just truly allowed me to come more into me and take things to another level.
I am so grateful that you said that, because I truly feel the same when I speak to you. You have such powerful energy and such beautiful. I mean, when I spoke to you, it made me, after the first conversation we had, I went back and I really thought about it. And I said, wait a second, this girl is so powerful in how she stands in her own truth that it gives me inspiration to do the same without thinking twice. And I went back to Think and Grow Rich. I started the book again, after speaking to you, and I just read it 3 weeks ago, but I went back to it because I said, oh, it just makes me believe in what I can create, and let me go back to Think and Grow Rich, and because it just, you, I think that what you take away from people, what you'd like to take away. And from you, what I took away is a lot of inspiration and a lot of motivation and a lot of this beautiful energy of creation.
Yes.
Create, create, create.
Yes, create. And you have me even more of creative energy now in big empress energy. Like I'm telling you, I'm gonna get off of here. I'm gonna get on www.biggitytarot.com. I'm reading up on the empress. I'm like, all right, Bree, so choo 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 choo. I'm putting it next to my
Yeah.
qualities because I have 10 great powers that I work on every day. So now here are my empress qualities, right? Because I
I
know
love it.
they're gonna help me inevitably. So
I
yeah.
love it. You gotta share those with me,
I
please. I love it. Please share them with me. I would just take a picture for me and share that with me. I'm gonna put that on my Instagram and say,
I'm
there's the
telling
Empress.
you, I literally
I
on
love
Sunday,
that.
I'm going to the beach. So these next 2 days, I'll write it out, I'll manifest, I'll really come into these characteristics that I really want to stand in. And then by Sunday, once I take it to the beach and really get into it, you're gonna have it on Sunday because we're
That's incredible.
level.
I love this, Great. It's just incredible. It makes me so, I'm like the sun right now. The sun's outside, but it's actually inside me. I'm like the sun right now.
The
I'm just
sun's
glowing.
outside, but it's inside of you. Well, speaking of the sun, this is what we're going to do.
Oh,
We're going to wrap
yeah.
up our podcast episode. Ladies, as you already know, just from listening to this podcast, listening to many other podcasts, we're going to, of course, put all the links in the description box, ensuring that you guys can get in contact with me, ensuring that you guys can get in contact with Nimi. Like she's already said, she has the waiting list loading for the Empress Empowerment Program. And the amazing part about these type of situations is whether you hear this podcast in April 2022 or whether you hear this podcast in December of 2027, our energy is evergreen. Our connection is evergreen. Our love and compassion and unity for ensuring that we elevate ourselves and elevate each other is evergreen. So even if you don't get into one program, she's going to have a trillion other programs. Like she's going to have retreats, and we're going to Tanzania.
Yes, we're gonna climb Kilimanjaro.
Y'all, we're gonna have a retreat. I'm telling you, we are creating a retreat and we'll have it. I'm telling you, this is preloading.
That would be such an amazing experience. It would be a once in a lifetime experience to go to Tanzania together as empresses. Oh my God. I'm putting that in the vortex right now.
Right now. And I'm telling you,
right now.
I'm working. It's
I can't wait.
I'm ready. So
me too.
You already know what to do. So we're gonna wrap up this podcast episode. Again, Nimi, I'm so happy that we were able to collab together. And this is just the beginning of so many episodes to come.
I agree. Thank you. Thank you, Breye'l, for this beautiful opportunity. I'm just so grateful and so blessed to be connected to a soul like yours. And I am looking forward to all the other collaborations that we end up having. Bree, my cheeks are hurting because I've been smiling the whole time. My cheeks are hurting because I've been smiling the whole time. Oh, I love you. And thank you for being this incredible queen that you are, this incredible Queen of Pentacles that you represent, because you truly are an embodiment of her in your business, but in your life. And that means that you are a true empress in your life. So thank you. Thank you for introducing me to this beautiful empress that I see in front of me.
I'm telling you, hard work and